All right, so we're back.
Finally.
Welcome.
Without creating mountains where the valleys used to be. And all the things I thought I knew were changing like the seas. Yeah. But I have overcome it all and I'm still here. Oh, I gotta change perspectives if I really wanna see.
Oh, can I just start off by being so honest with you?
Please do.
So I have not gotten hold of you to record because I didn't feel like I had anything to share with anybody. Like I didn't feel like I had anything that people needed to hear or talk about or anything. And I just got into this like slump of depression and I stopped posting videos and I stopped making videos and I stopped posting anything. And then, I did a couple really honest posts of
You did.
many disappointments along the way.
You've had a couple.
Oh, I've had, but
But no cancer.
no. So we'll do that quick update. Cancer's gone, which is weird. Like it's, everyone keeps saying, oh, your cancer's gone. And I was like, but is it though? Like, I don't know. Like, is it? Cause I just
Do you
kept
still
having
have
this,
that lingering?
Like, yeah. Well, now that we've done the left side investigation and
Right.
the MRI and the mammogram, I don't think that there is any current cancer, but there are signs that there would be future cancer
If left.
if left.
Yep.
So I feel like I'm making the right decision to do the
Agree
left side.
completely.
But it's like that made me feel very much more settled after we got those results back. Because I was like, okay, if this takes another year, I don't have cancer growing inside of me currently.
For sure.
You know?
Yes.
And so I felt much better about that.
Yes.
Because I was actually getting angry. Like when people were like, you're cancer free and you beat cancer. And I was like, I don't know that. I
We
don't
don't
know
have that for sure answer.
I can't give you that.
Yeah, the cancer's gone here.
right.
But there's more of me and
And
I
it's
can
scary.
imagine.
It's so scary.
I
Like
can't imagine. I
I
can't.
never thought about what goes on inside of your body before. I mean, obviously, like the obvious things, but
Right.
like I just never thought about that. And then like the fact that I had so much infection after my
Yeah.
surgery, and that like nobody knew that I had that much infection. So then I get done with that surgery, and she's like, "Okay, we're on the antibiotics," and I get off the antibiotics, and I'm like, "How do you know that I
Yeah.
don't?" So I've become this like almost paranoid,
I can understand,
Are you
though.
sure? Are you sure it's all gone? Like, why do I still have pain? And why,
Yeah. You were sure though that this is just going to be another cyst. I've
Yeah.
had so many cysts.
I
It's
didn't
just not
know.
going to be anything. And then your world got rocked
completely.
by the C word. Because it's supposed to just be another cyst.
Right.
It's the wrong C word.
I've dealt with cysts my whole life. Like,
Right.
oh, do you have to drain it? Okay, cool. Just drain it,
Yeah.
And then even going into fighting the cancer, it was still very light and just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, like we'll just get it, cut out.
It's
whatever,
kind of,
blah,
was
blah,
it
blah.
kind of like an idea
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
the
The
actual
reality had
of
never,
it?
and it all happened so fast.
I can,
It all went so fast that my brain could not process
Right.
what was happening. And so my life, I went from working 7 days a week, three different jobs, running around, going crazy, had 3 kids living at home, and then 2 of them move out. I have surgery.
I know.
And then I had a hospital stay, and then I had another surgery. And then it was like, and then all of the sudden, it was like, oh, you're cured. You're done. Now just sit and wait. And I'm like,
I haven't even processed
sorry,
what
wait.
happened first.
What?
And now,
right. So I had to hit the brakes twice, which was insane.
and they weren't just tapping the brakes. Like they
No,
came
this
to
was
a
a severe, like you go over the handlebars hitting the brakes
yes,
that hard.
Yes.
And that point was when I didn't know what to do. And all of a sudden, like my surgeon was like, okay, I'll see you in a couple weeks. And I was like, no, I see you every day. I go to your office every day. Like,
Right. That's what I
it became
do.
this like, it was very strange. Like,
Was it like a comfort to you
it was
though?
a comfort
Just to
see her. I saw her 3 to 4 times a week. I knew that I was being like super taken care of.
Right.
Even though I was going through all these weird,
Sure.
like going to the office was like,
She
got me.
knows.
I'm okay.
She knows.
I'm okay. Like, yes, this sucks and it was painful and they had to clean things out and
Right.
things like that. But it was like, and then when my next appointment was 2 weeks out, because she's like, okay, go get an MRI and a mammogram, and then call me. And I'm like,
That's it?
okay, okay. And then like I almost went through this. I can't even describe what it was. It was almost like a withdrawal of the anxiety, of the busyness, of the seriousness of it.
Right.
Because then all of a sudden it was like, you're fine. And I'm like,
When did that happen?
twirling out in the middle of outer space.
Well, and you're seeing yet that, well, we're not done.
We're not done. Yeah.
What do you...
Yeah. Yeah.
I would imagine it's almost like this limbo kind of, because you went from one type of, and I'll just use the word chaos for lack of anything else. Life was almost chaos for you, just working all the time, just busy, 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 busy.
Yes.
The brakes got slammed. And you became busy in a whole nother way that came out of left field. So you're trying to resolve the first chaos.
Yes.
To transition into what became the second chaos. And then you have this roller coaster ride. You're like, and you're going up, up to the hill. And they're like, we got it all. The margins are clean. The cancer is gone. And you start hitting.
Yes.
So one thing after the other happens. So now you've got this second chaos. So I can imagine that, okay, see you in 2 weeks is like.
Right. And even worse after that. So that was like my first downward spiral thing, is her going, okay, you're healed enough to go get your left side start to get checked out.
Right.
And I went for those scans. And then I had to wait a week after my MRI to see her.
Yes.
And then I see her. And then the news that I get at that appointment is it could be 3 to 6 months up to a year before you do the left side in your reconstruction. And it was almost like an out-of-body experience.
I can't imagine.
Because I was like, this is like limbo. What can I do? What can I not do? What are my restrictions? How do I live for the next, like, what do I do? I can't jump back into the life that I was living.
I know.
And so I'm like, I have to redefine my life for the
All
third
over.
time in 3 months.
Right.
And
You've
just kind of
transitioned
go,
3 times in a very small window of time.
so short, like so short. It
I
has just been.
Can't imagine.
So yeah, I kind of went into this. It was depression, but it was different. Does that make sense?
It does.
It was kind of like, I could imagine that a new mom after having the baby feels that same way.
That makes sense.
Like
you're living a
you're
life you had
anticipating it
no
and all of that, and then
preparation
all this,
for.
like you're in this world of, oh, I don't know, what do I do? Like,
I've
my
never done
body
this
is changing
before.
again, and now I
Right.
have this new baby, and like I was pregnant, and now I'm not pregnant, and like I have different responsibilities, and I mean,
Right.
and that's how it felt, just kind
Yeah.
of like reinventing my new normal, and so, and again, my family went from like doting on me all the time,
Right.
not letting me do things, having all these restrictions, and then my doctor was like, "You don't have any restrictions," and I'm like, "Okay." So I tried to vacuum with my left hand while holding my right boob so that I didn't, my right lack of boob, my right chest plate, so that I wouldn't use my right arm, right? So
Got
I'm
it.
using my vacuum
Yes.
like this. I threw a rib out of place. The next morning I
You
woke up,
did
threw a rib out of
not.
place. And I was like, come on, so and I'm not complaining. That's not what it is. It's just discovering
It's speaking what really happened.
who I am, what I can do now, and then planning things is unbelievably difficult. Like
How
one
do
of my
you?
very good friends wants to fly me down to North Carolina, and I was
Yeah.
like, that would be great. I can't because I don't know. And this was prior to finding out my appointments in February,
Right.
But I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
But what if they would call? If
What if
they
they
would
called and they
call
can
while
get me
you were
in?
there,
Yes.
saying we can get you in tomorrow, and you'd be like, and
Yep.
I can't.
Yep. So, I mean, even like
So it puts life on hold
it,
in a way.
in every way.
Yeah.
And then I ended up moving my whole living room around because I was like, I can't sit in my recovery chair anymore. Like, because that was where I was. And that was my view for my entire recovery. And I'm like, but now I'm not in that place anymore.
You needed it to look
And
different.
so we rearranged the whole living room because I was like, I'm now in a different phase. Like I still have to rest a lot. I get really tired. I'm in a lot of pain still. So I'm still trying to like navigate that.
Yeah.
But I can also do things now. And so, so anyways, I have to say things like, you need to let me do this because it's something I can do. I can go make the coffee.
Yes.
I can do the dishes, not all the heavy ones, but I can do the laundry. You need to carry it downstairs for me. So it's like figuring all of those things out and sometimes doing things I'm not supposed to. And then all of a sudden I'm in like, not that I'm not supposed to, right? Testing and figuring out if I can.
And that's the way you find out.
That's how you find out. And then I'll be like in pain for the next 2 days because that was something that was out of my...
learned, but...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyways.
Life,
So
man.
I felt like I just had nothing to contribute to the podcast because I was so focused on myself.
You needed to be.
But not in a good way.
I can understand that. But I'm also going to say there was no preparation for you for any of this. There was nobody that walked you step by step and said, this is going to be next, and this is going to be next, and this is going to be next. I think I know you well enough to know that if you know something, then you can handle it.
Absolutely.
But you had everything thrown at you that you weren't expecting, that you weren't anticipating, that you may not think about. Nobody would have expected after your surgery that you were going to have the complications you had. That was not anything you planned for. And then going in for another surgery, but just surgery alone with general anesthesia does a number on the body.
It does.
It does a number. And a lot of people experience depression following a major surgery. That's just normal. And you did what you needed to do to get through that period of time. And I've missed you desperately. But it was Sarah time.
Yeah.
It was Sarah time.
It's hard for me to focus on myself. Like, it really is. Like, I love to take care of other people.
I know you do.
And I love to pour into them. And, like, Addison got slightly sick, like, I don't know, a week and a half ago. And I was all like,
I can
take care of you. Let me make you soup and let me get you tea and let me do... And it, like, I came alive. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I totally came alive because I was like, I could go care for somebody else. Like, it was the most amazing thing. And Addison's like, are you happy that I'm sick? And I'm like, no.
Yes and
I'm
no,
just
but not
really
for
excited that
reasons.
I can take care of you for a hot second. And it's not me being taken care of all the time.
It was a little bit of normal for you.
Normal. Yeah.
And that feels real good. Yeah. Those boring little lives that we might have thought, oh, my life, there's just nothing exciting. When that gets taken away from you, you learn how much you absolutely love that boring, normal life that you had. So I'm really glad. Addison, I love you, and I'm really sorry you got sick, but I was glad that you got a little bit sick so your mama could take care of you.
Yes,
we love you.
And she's fine now. She just had a tiny little cold.
No.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But I think that's, the other thing was, too, learning how to own my behavior. This was a big one for me because I was on 5 rounds of steroids by the time all of this has been said and done.
For mood.
Oh,
it is just
I haven't even
horrible.
started my hormone blocker yet because I'm like, we do not need to be putting Sarah into menopause as she's being a monster on steroids. Like,
it would have been horrible.
Awful. I was awful. And so Addison had to get in my face, and I'm not even kidding you. Like, I was treating Aaron horribly. There's only 3 of us in the house, right? And so it's like I could stand in the mirror and yell at myself. I can yell at him, or I could yell at her, and I'm not going to yell at her or myself. So it was him. Like, I took everything out on him. And then I would cry and be like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to, And there's only so much. Bless my husband's heart. He's amazing,
But there comes
there's
a
only
time
so
to
much
get off the
that
ride.
he can handle, And so we got into this really, really stupid argument about I was rude to him, and I didn't think that I was rude to him, and I thought he was wrong.
Nobody
and blah, blah, blah,
wanted to back.
Yeah. And he had just reached that breaking point of
sure.
And so I was like yelling at him, and Addison literally got in between the 2 of us and was about this close to my face. And she was like, that is enough. and then proceeded to be in my face and tell me how it was. And she had to come to Jesus talk with me.
Yeah.
And it was extremely well presented. Everything she said was very right. And she blocked my view. So here's Erin all the way over there, and here's me, and she's standing between the two of us, and she is like telling me how it is, you know? And I just stopped. And everything inside of me that had been so angry, it was like, oh, out of the mouths of babes, right? I mean, everything she said, and she said it with love and with kindness and with firmness. And
she spoke some truth and love.
She did. And then the three of us sat down and we could actually have a conversation. And it was one of the best things that could have happened, because I had another round of steroids after that. That was my second to last one. We thought we were done with all of them.
Surprise!
So heading into my very last round that I went to, mentally I prepared myself.
Good.
I was like, I do not have a filter. I am like a teenage child or a 2-year-old. I'm not sure which one it was, right?
Depends.
So like, you know the filters in your mind that are like, you're thinking that, but don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. I didn't have a filter at all on steroids. And so I would just, you know? And so knowing that, I would remove myself from the situation. So I would put myself upstairs. If I felt like I couldn't be kind, or if I started to feel that angst, I would remove myself.
Good.
And I was like, I wonder what I can learn from that for like my everyday life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like just
good takeaway from that.
Like own my behavior. Like when I'm being rude, be like, yeah, that was stupid. You shouldn't have said that. Instead of getting defensive about it. And I'm thinking, how many arguments between Erin and I could be resolved, prevented, if I could own, you were kind of a bitch, knock it off. You know what I mean? Like,
you practice self-awareness, Sarah.
I did. And
it's remarkable.
Weird. It was
though
good.
How good it is.
Yeah.
I know.
You've been doing a little self-awareness.
I have been, because I have been talking horribly myself to somebody that I care about. That would be myself. And because I don't take it out on anybody, I will feel it coming and I will bite it off, because that's deeply ingrained. I wasn't allowed. So I'm well versed and very good at stopping it before it comes out. I may walk in another room and complete the sentence I really wanted to say. But I'd always found that it was far easier. I'm just going to take it out on me. So that's what I have been doing, and it was not good. And I was intentionally not practicing self-awareness because I didn't want to look at it. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to own it. I wanted to sit with it. That was the place I was at. No, I want to sit here and hate myself. I want to sit here and trash my body from head to toe. I want to look at my appearance and look in the mirror and say exactly how I feel about it. I'm going to tell myself, this is your flaws, and I'm going to list them from head to toe. And I would, from the top of my head down to my toes. It's the ugliest thing. You know, I sit here and I think about it, and it's the ugliest thing, because the idea of somebody that I cared about and loved doing that would hurt my heart. But literally starting with my hair, my face, my upper body, my lower body, my front side, my back side, you name it, it was on the table for me to just viciously rip into it and rip it apart, tear it apart, and tell myself, as I'm looking at myself, what a worthless piece of trash you are. You ugly, hideous, yucky, how you ended up with this amazing man, why you have this life where, you know, that I love, and I don't deserve a single bit of it. I am just a big old phony fraud. And I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. I didn't want to get dressed. I sat in my snuggly onesies and claimed they're cozy and comfy. It wasn't a joy thing. It was I didn't care. And
go ahead. Can I ask you a question?
You sure can.
The things that you told yourself, would you have ever uttered that to another human being out loud?
Never, because I don't see that in other people.
So isn't that interesting that we can be unbelievably cruel to ourselves?
It's what it was. I was trying
and things that
to
you would
hurt
never,
myself.
you would never say it to another person.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's those two responses. Either you don't look within and you take it out on others.
Yep.
And that's what I was doing. And then the opposite is what you were doing.
Yeah.
Because you would never say anything like that
Never.
to anybody
Never.
else. So you say it to yourself instead.
Yeah. I was vicious. I mean, and I won't sugarcoat it. It was that bad. The ugly, hateful things that came, and I spoke this out loud. Like, I spoke it out loud. I broke rule number 1. I don't put bad, negative stuff out there anymore. I don't speak those words out loud. If it's in my head, okay, I'll work it out there. But it's just been something I've been trying to implement. I'm not going to say that out loud. And I broke that rule because I wanted to hear the words. I wanted to hear it. And I'm like, it was like I was on a mission to destroy that person in the mirror. Like, I am going to destroy you. It was horrible, just horrible. Because I'm like, but I'm happy. I love my life. I love my friends. I love my family. I love what I'm doing. Right. I love it all. And maybe it's just my fear that it's going to go away. Is this?
Absolutely.
Am I gonna have to say goodbye to this? Because I've had to say
You've
goodbye
had
before.
so much loss and so much taken away from you that
I'm terrified
I can,
that this is gonna go away. Because I don't know, and I'm not even gonna say that out loud because I know that I'm strong enough. Come what may, I'll be all right. But those thoughts sometimes catch you off guard, like what ifs kind of thing is just like. So there's been a lot.
And this brings up a whole different topic that we'll probably cover a different day, but Addison took a mental health day today.
Good.
She couldn't figure out why. Like, she texted me and it was the strangest thing. And I was like, you've had 2 snow days already this week. You had 2 last week. Like, no, you're going to school. And I'm not going to tell her business, but it was like, she said, I'm feeling these emotions and I can't figure out why. She's not a crier. She doesn't cry. That's not a thing. And she's like, I'm crying and I can't figure out why. I said, honey, sometimes you don't need to know why. Right. I said, but these feelings and emotions are real.
They are real.
And she says, I just can't shove them down anymore. And I'm like,
don't shove.
I said, that is why we have mental health days. I said, this didn't used to be a thing, right? In schools, like, you couldn't call your kid in for a mental health day, right?
Oh, I've argued with my school over that. And I'm like, you can tell me I can't, and that's not an okay thing. I'm telling you as the parent, the decision is made. They're not going to be there.
Right. Exactly. You know? And so it was like something clicked in me when I saw her face and I was like, yeah, you can stay home. Like, it was so out of character.
She wore it. You saw it.
That it was like, okay, something is going on it is out of the ordinary, you know? Oh. And I'm so glad that I made that decision because her and I were able to have these great conversations this morning.
Yep.
But the topic of suicide in January came up. And she says, I've just been hearing a lot about it. And she's like, what is it about this time of year? Why is it so prevalent? And I was like,
holidays
gosh,
and gray
the
skies.
Holidays, the excitement, all of that is done. And I said, and then in Michigan, it's cold, it's dark. We have been living in Alaska for the past week, you know? I'm like,
vitamin D. It's gone.
We haven't had it. And I said, but when people push their emotions down and they don't talk about it, I said, the happiest people, all of a sudden they commit suicide. And you're like, where? Where did that even come from?
I know.
But they're experiencing the inner dialogue like you were doing to yourself. On the outside, you put a smile on your face.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine.
And everybody thinks you're so full of joy and so happy. And you started this new thing this week. And everyone's like, oh, this is so amazing what you're doing. But nobody knows that I'm inside.
Dying inside.
Yes.
Like, I am just dying.
Right.
Dying. And and I couldn't even tell you what it is that I wanted anybody to do. And maybe because there wasn't anything that anybody could do for me, I had to do it myself.
Right.
I just had to.
But you also couldn't do it yourself.
No.
So say those words.
That I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do
myself.
it yourself.
I know.
No.
I know.
And what snapped you out of it?
Seeing the message from you.
Yeah, you shared it with me.
I needed Sarah. I needed you. I needed to tell you so I could tell my husband. Because it was so unfair. You know, in hindsight, it's terribly unfair. He didn't know how bad it was.
Right.
I mean, that's how good I can be at things are just really great.
Yeah.
And that's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair to do to the people that I love and care about, that love and care about me. Nor is it healthy in any way, shape, or form, nor is it what I preach anymore. So I'm not practicing what I'm supposed to be. So yeah, I've used myself as an example with a couple people that I counsel. And I'm finding that openly using myself as the example is actually beneficial for them. I can be here helping you.
Yeah.
I can write a program to help people, but that doesn't mean I don't need what I created. I need this as much as everybody that may take it. It's a constant reminder to me, and it will be good to just jump in and get to it, but I've had conviction from day one. I'm like, oh, great.
Well, you said even before we started recording that it clicked that you've been diving so deeply into the self-awareness.
Yes.
And, you know, then you're like, that, okay. And it all kind of comes together.
Then it makes sense. I was able to connect the dots. And, you know, it's wise, I found in all my deep diving research. I have read college papers. I've read neuroscientists. I've been listening to these podcasts about the brain and the body chemistry and what trauma and all of these things do. So it's like my brain has just been like, I'm loving it, but holy cow, so much. But it has taught me that self-awareness is the most least talked about, underestimated thing that I now realize is like building block number one
You start
to
there.
have a stable life. You have to understand your reactions and where they're coming from, what they're rooted in, what they're grounded in, because trauma, pain, hurt, all that stuff in the past causes the brain to rewire and all this stuff. So your reactions are rooted in that. Well, I'm over 25 years from that. I don't need those responses anymore. They're not serving a purpose, and in fact, they're hurting me.
Yeah.
So it made me have to come to terms with, I still have junk because I am like, what I'm done. I'm not.
And you and I talked about the fact that you went right back into those same patterns.
I did immediately.
And all of a sudden you're like, wait, I thought I was healed from this. I thought I was better from this. I thought I had already dealt with that. I thought that I had shoved that down or that I had released
I fixed it.
One of the two, right?
Yes.
Either we feel like we've buried it far enough or that we have fully let go of it. And then it creeps back up and you're like, am I just that weak? Am
That's how
I
I
just
felt.
that weak that
Like,
I
I
can't actually
failed.
handle this and I can't
know.
master it? Yes, that's exactly it. No, it does. It makes you feel weak. And
it did.
And
It
almost stupid.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was one of the most difficult aspects of it for me because being made to feel stupid was the norm during my growing up. All through school, my first marriage, being made to feel stupid was the norm. It's like, and it was the one thing that just seethed inside of me. Like there was this fire rage inside of me over this feeling stupid. Because I'm like, I'm not stupid.
Right.
You know, it's just that, but I'm not going to say anything. And so I think, the combination of stuff and then just topped off with just a scathing attack that was like a gut punch because it was so unexpected. I hadn't even been talking to this particular person.
Right.
Didn't address them, wasn't even in a communication with them at all. Somebody just jumped into something that I had commented on and offering help to,
But again, here's the thing.
Ooh.
Did they attack your how you look?
No, because
No.
they've never met me.
Right.
They
But
don't
this
know
is
me.
the question I'm asking you intentionally.
Okay.
The attacks that you took,
Yes.
they did not attack what you then attacked yourself with, right?
Right.
So what they said had nothing to do with your personal physical appearance,
Right.
And
Right.
yet your brain jumped right back into those
Yes.
patterns of the self-loathing, and when you look in the mirror and all those things, that it like jumped right back into that pattern because that is where you've always gone with things, right?
Yeah.
And
My
so I feel
mind
like
is putting things
it's
together.
so interesting though, isn't it? I
So-
mean, one had nothing to do with the other.
So, but what if I go back to the statement? And it's interesting that words, man, certain words can really plant deep. And when you hear the words, it's a good thing that you're smart because you're not pretty, and life is a lot easier for people that are pretty. That defined me at that moment. So you're smart, but you're ugly. So I better make sure that I'm smart. So then when my smart gets attacked and you're not, and you're who do you think you are, I'm like, life is this way because I'm not pretty.
Yep.
It's because that I wasn't given anything that's considered attractive or pretty or beautiful. So that is my target.
Yeah.
Because it was handed to me when I was young. There it is. That's the problem. This is why you're ugly
Yeah.
and you're fat. And that's why life will be hard for you. So good thing you're smart. So if my smart gets attacked, I'm like, that's all I have.
Right.
So yeah,
That's
interesting.
no, it is. It's very interesting.